It's definitely librarian baiting, but it's also definitely good. Hi everyone, I'm Jacob, I'm the Cowhat Librarian, and I'm here tonight to talk to you about Ban This Book by Alan Gratz. Now, this book was published a couple years ago, and I've really liked it right from the get-go. It is something that is wonderful to bring up when it's Banned Books Week or Freedom to Read Month because of the topics involved. So, Amy Ann is a regular at her school's library, and she loves borrowing her absolute favorite book. And one day she goes to borrow it, and the book isn't available. Well, through the course of things, she learns that a parent has made a challenge of the book in the library, and that it has been pulled from the shelves entirely. She's pretty upset about it, and she doesn't think books should be removed from the school library just because a parent objects to some of the content. So, with her dad in tow, Amy Ann heads to a school council meeting to discuss things. But when she gets there, she's too nervous to speak up, and nothing happens. Her dad buys her a copy of the book for her own, but Amy Ann sort of sighs and complains that, well, it helps her, but it doesn't help all the other kids who are going to miss out on this wonderful book, or any of the others that have been challenged. So shortly afterward, she talks with a friend of hers and another boy on the school bus, and they start talking about the books that have been pulled from the library. And Amy Ann reveals she has her book, her friend reveals she has another one on the banned list, and they agree to trade them so they can each read them. The boy in the conversation asks, well, why would they want to bother reading them? And the girls reply to him basically that if they banned them, there must be something good there. And so things progress from there. Amy Ann starts making a list of banned books that are available around the school, and people start trading them and reading them. And they end up trying to get a central location for them, Amy Ann's locker. She starts asking for donations of these books and buying some of her own, and ultimately stealing some of the ones that were pulled from the school library shelves so that she can operate a banned book library out of her locker. Now, there's a disaster fairly soon into things. One of the students is nearly caught reading one of the banned books at the school cafeteria, leading Amy Ann and her friends to realize they need to come up with a new plan. And so instead of reading the books openly, they have to disguise them. They make up fake covers for the books with fake titles that make them seem much more innocuous. Books about princesses or cheese or other topics that will pass without question. Now, in the course of things, though, the school librarian is placed on, if I remember it, she's placed on administrative leave, or I don't think she's outright fired. I believe she's placed on unpaid leave or something similar. Now, in the course of things just keep escalating. Amy Ann doesn't have a good way to keep track of the books that are in and out. She doesn't have a good, safe way to keep people informed as to what books she has in her locker. She doesn't have a good way to prevent the school librarian from being disciplined for the disappearance of those books. And things come to a head. Ultimately, she and her classmates decide that they are going to out-ridiculous everyone while following the rules by presenting as many petitions as they can to ban every single book in the school library to make a point about how ridiculous things are. So the day before the next meeting, they send wave after wave of kids into the school washrooms to work on filling out the forms and coming up with ridiculous reasons as to why they should ban this book or that book for, frankly, ludicrous reasons. They're kind of brilliant, to be honest. And eventually they head to the climactic meeting and the showdown with the school board about the banned books issue. It's marvelous. It's fantastic. And while I do believe it falls in the category of of what I've been calling library baiting, where it was written to appeal more to library staff members than children necessarily, I think it has some important stuff in here. Amy Ann is a fantastic character. She's wonderful, she's smart, she's dedicated, she stands up for what she believes in. She's an inspiration for people who want to sort of show that people shouldn't be stepped on, that they have rights, that they should be allowed things. She was great. And I highly recommend it. And with that, even though I did thoroughly enjoy it, I think I need to take a moment and warn you that there are spoilers ahead, because I have to talk about the deal breaker. Now, the deal breaker in this book is admittedly me being nitpicky, but it really pulled me out of the book for just a moment. Now, this book takes place at a time when Facebook allowed regular people to be users. It wasn't enforcing its requirement that users be from universities or colleges anymore. And that took place in, I believe, 2006. In the course of the climactic meeting, Amy Ann's questioning a woman who is on the school board who is speaking up in favor of all these book bannings. And Amy Ann reveals that that woman had borrowed "Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret" back in 1982. And how did Amy Ann know that? Well, the school library still had that copy of the book. And the woman's name was on the card in the book 5 times. Now, I know school libraries have limited budgets. I know they hang on to things. I know that "Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret" is considered a classic, and that many places would like to hang on to copies as long as humanly possible. But what are the odds that a single copy of that book could somehow stay in a school library from 1982 until 2006 without the card being filled up and replaced, or without that book being weeded from the library's collection? It is so ridiculous. Those cards had room for maybe 20 or so names. And so even the best case scenario, you're looking at that book being borrowed maybe 15 times over a period of 20 years. And that school never once replaced the copy, or had it borrowed enough to replace the card, or pulled it for not being used. To me, the math doesn't add up. It was a compelling climax to the book. It was very, very smart of Amy to be able to turn it around on that person by saying, well, she's a good person, even though she read this book that she now disagrees with being available. But the math and the lack of weighting in that school library rubs me the wrong way. Anyway, I enjoyed it. Oh, and there's even a fun little cameo of Dave Pilkey in the book, as he appears as a visiting author. And if you like this book, if the readers in your life like this book, they might also like things like Class Action, or possibly Cleo Edison Oliver, Playground Millionaire. And the same would be true in reverse also. With that, please take a minute to like and subscribe if you'd like to see what else I'm going to talk about from the Cowhat Library. Thanks for watching. Bye now.